back.
Welcome in.
Welcome to another episode. Yeah, so this week, dude,
there's been a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on in the social space.
Yeah.
In the social media space, I guess you could call it. I just want to start off with a real quick story, though.
No, do it.
So
what do you got?
Ever since I've been sober, right? Mm-hmm. I've been having these recurring dreams.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like okay. Have you ever had those dreams where you're like you're back in you're like back in college or whatever?
Oh, of course, right.
And then you're like scrambling for a test, and you're like, oh god, I have no idea what the hell.
Yeah.
Is.
And you're naked.
Yeah. And then you're just like you're like standing right outside the lecture hall where you're supposed to take the test or whatever, and you're like, fuck, I don't know shit.
Right.
And then like
forget your homework type of thing.
Yeah, and then somewhere along in the dream you realize you're dreaming, and you're like, oh shit. I graduated like 20 years ago.
I actually have not done that, but
no, really?
I'm sure
that part.
I do it after I get up, but I mean that's a very cathartic feeling, I'm sure. Because when I get up, it's like
it's like moments before. I don't know. I can't.
Oh, you don't know
exactly
you can't
decipher
delineate.
if I was already awake, but it's like at that moment when you're about to wake up. Because when you realize you've dreamed.
Gotcha.
The past however many minutes. Yeah, and then so like I've had those kind of dreams. But recently, ever since I've been sober, I've been having dreams that I've broken the sobriety.
You've relapsed.
Relapsed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
It freaks the fuck out of me, dude.
Right.
Because it's like, oh my God, dude, did I just fuck up? You know?
Right.
I
can imagine that feeling in the,
flashes of people that I've like let down, yet again, kind of thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, but then that little feeling of like you get far long enough in the dream, you realize you're dreaming, and you're like, oh, okay, good, I'm still sober.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. I'm sure it's a huge relief.
But I wonder what that's come from. Am I feeling some kind of guilt or something?
I'm sure it's just your subconscious thinking about those consequences. Where it's like, I'm sure that's it's like we all fight our demons and everything. But I mean, I got to imagine that even in your subconscious, you think about those moments and those possibilities, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, as you're going through your day, you're not going to play that out in your head, but of course our brains being the horrible things they are.
It's more like, whoa, I'm glad that wasn't the reality. I was dreaming it, put it behind me, whatever. But then it's like, but I kind of think, I'm like, dude, is it because I'm craving it? Is it my body like saying, hey, you still want this shit, man?
That's a good question, honestly. I mean, it's like, that might be something in your subconscious, but I mean, I think if nothing else, if that's the case, it's also the case that your brain's kind of giving you that scenario of, oh, you think you want it? Here's the result.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And you get that, and now you see it. You get that feeling, freaking Ebenezer Scrooge style, and you're just like, okay, this is not the future that I want.
Yeah.
So maybe that's. I mean, it's a good question, honestly.
It happens less so now, like as further away I get from it. Like it was happening like every other like day when I was going through the withdrawals and shit.
Yeah, that's brutal.
But so I mean, the fact that it's still happening is kind of scaring me. That's it. I'm just like,
100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure just again, like you said, maybe it's in your subconscious or whatever. But it's like I'm sure it's part of the process of you going through that. This is not some small feat that you've undertaken. So yeah,
one day at a time.
Exactly. I mean, you've made it this far, and it's incredible that you've made it this far. It's like that's it is significant across the board. So Thank you. You've done amazing to get this far, and even grappling with it in that sense, via dreams, via your subconscious, even the fact that you are thinking about, oh no, what if it is this way? At least you've got enough cognizance to realize that that's not the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you haven't gotten into that point where you're trying to rationalize getting back into it or something like that.
That's
true.
So it's nothing like that. It's just more like, why?
Yeah,
why the fuck is this happening?
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and again, it's like, you went through it. It's like, it can be bad, and it's good that you still kind of have that as your reaction to having gone through these dreams. That's I feel for you, man.
Yeah.
I'll owe you a beer.
I don't like it a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So that's been happening. Dude, another sad thing happened, dude.
Oh my goodness, that is
Talk about our childhood dying.
Literally part of our childhood dying.
Yeah,
it's so funny because it's like I don't even know. I'm sure they've mentioned it as they've mentioned dates, but I don't think I knew the name Paul Reubens for a long time. I never knew the name, and I mean, even as they've been talking about it.
Well, I mean, you didn't know it because you knew Pee Wee Herman more, or like, is it because
exactly? Yeah, it's like so we all
like you just know the guy as Pee Wee Herman.
Exactly. Everyone of our age knows or knew who Pee Wee Herman was.
Oh,
I mean, that was again. If
you're a child of the '80s, you just, I mean, it was like the Saturday end of the Saturday morning cartoons always ended with him, right?
That's what I was trying to remember.
He was like 12 to 1 slot or something. I forget what it was.
Exactly. I don't remember the slot. I don't remember how old I was when I first started learning about it or anything like that. But like you said, it was so ubiquitous. It was just so much part of us. It was so much part. He was so much part of our culture,
dude.
And
I mean, he was like our generation's Mr. Rogers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I mean, I remember Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street
that too.
When we were really, really young.
Yeah,
of course. But that, like you said, it was like that stuff kind of started before us, and we came into it. When we were babies or whatever. But it was very formative. But in terms of us having kind of our own memories and choosing the things that we like to watch, Pee Wee Herman was kind of the beginning of that.
Yeah.
And so
connect the dots, la la la, la la la. I love that guy, dude.
Man, it is amazing. So,
remember he always every show he always had a little secret word.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you want to do it? You want to do one?
Do you have something in mind already?
I was thinking, okay, every time we say the word story, that'll be a secret word. That'll be a secret word.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Every time we?
Every time
I say that all the time. That's not
story
fair.
For another time. Right? So every time you're gonna be about to say that, I'm gonna make you walk into it. So every time, so all your viewers at home, every time you hear the secret word, you gotta scream.
Oh my god!
But that's a story. Shit, I love that guy, dude. I remember. As a kid, you don't really understand like words to songs,
100%.
And then I remember every time that show came on, and then like the theme song came.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea what the hell they were singing. They're like, and then at Pee Wee's Playhouse. That's all I knew. That's all at Pee Wee's Playhouse.
No, very good.
I mean, dude, like, you want to
bring it up?
Let's bring it up.
Yeah. So we were talking. We've been talking about this.
Dude, he was even afterwards too. He's been in some good movies that I enjoyed.
Oh, of course.
Like,
I mean, again,
just to name a couple. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in that.
Oh, that's right.
You're gonna wish you died. Ooh, ah, ow, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah,
I'd
forgotten about
He's also
that.
in one of my all-time favorite movies called Blow with Johnny Depp.
Okay.
He's a small part in it, but
really?
Yeah.
I've not seen the movie, but I know, like you said, I know he was in stuff. So
there's this famous exchange, or to me, it's a famous exchange from that movie where he's like, because he's like Paul Reubens is his weed dealer, I think it was.
Okay.
And then Johnny Depp was the middleman.
Yeah.
And then he somehow Paul Reubens his character got into contact with the actual buyer.
Yeah.
So then they cut him out, basically.
Yeah.
And then like Johnny Depp goes to him. He's like, hey, "Am I wearing lipstick? Am I wearing lipstick?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Then why are you trying to fuck me?" I was like, "Dude, I love that." But anyways, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's Paul Reubens. But yeah, I mean, he's great. He's had a long extended career, even past Pee Wee.
Of course.
But yeah, let's check out this.
Let's do
this
it.
fucking theme song, dude. Oh wow, they have subtitles so we can actually read it. But back then they didn't have that.
Right? No, of course.
Like, listen to this shit. Okay, I can let down your hair. I could kind of understand that. Pee Wee's Playhouse. See, like you're not gonna understand what the fuck he's saying right there.
But like you said, especially as us as kids, we're not paying attention.
It's so crazy. This guy's weird. I love it though. He's so zany, but it's great.
Absolutely.
But I mean, like even as an adult, I still can't understand. If I didn't have the
right the subtitles, hey, at least you've got it now. So you got one little piece of resolution from your childhood now that you can say is
exactly.
There you go. The joy of having the internet. So.
But yeah, dude, Pee Wee. Paul Reubens, you're the best. I mean, like he, even through all the little controversies that he was part of when he got arrested and stuff.
Again, and I mean
that he never really got found guilty for that. I think he pleaded no contest in his little case. So I
don't remember the resolution of those cases.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it didn't really damage his career. I don't think it damaged his career.
I mean,
to me, when that happened. I was old enough to kind of understand that, dude. He's an adult. He can do shit like that. Like,
right.
I mean, not expose yourself.
Right.
But,
well, I think that was it. It was like it was more so after kind of his heyday.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's like I wouldn't say it was something where it completely killed his career, but I'm going to say it effectively ended that era.
Well, right. I mean, he wasn't going to make any more people.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
But again, I think that lends more to the fact that that was the beginning of something we really should have done for him way earlier in his life, which was let him be a complex human being, adult.
Yeah, let him be an adult.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure that that there's a lot of complexities to that, and vis-a-vis like Michael Jackson, where you've got this person who's complex and may have done some very questionable things. And it's you got
to understand his childhood was not
right. Well, but that's the thing. It's
it's childhood.
Yeah, exactly. You don't try to be apologist for anything or give him a pass on doing bad things, but you have to understand that there was a line that led to the cause of all this, right?
Yeah.
And it's like we very much, honestly, probably as a society, did not help that by having someone like Reubens go through so much of his early life and a prime career of being like world famous and not really even being able to tell people his real name. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So that's that. I'm sure that,
or just being recognized, like Alec Guinness being recognized always as Obi-Wan.
Exactly.
Even though he's
right.
a long,
exactly. But it's like anybody in the U.S. only knows him for one
Obi-Wan.
Thing,
Yeah.
right?
No, I get it. I get that. And then I mean, in the end, dude, it's basically you're going to be under kind of like a microscope when you're especially if you're putting out like children's content. And that. So of course. But like to me, it's always like, dude, everybody's human. Everybody's gonna have some kind of vice that they're into, or whatever,
of
whatever.
Course.
And
right. Well, I mean, again, it's
just because it was made public because they're a public figure.
And again, it's
but like if you put it down to like the everyday person, anybody's capable of doing that shit.
Exactly. And
so
that I think that's more.
Exactly.
That's the more important part. Where it's like I'm not going to give anybody a pass for doing something.
Right.
For doing something bad, but like you said, it's like it's an adult making their own choices.
Yeah.
And the reason we know about his choices is because of everything that led up to that moment.
Yeah.
As much as I won't forgive somebody for doing something bad, it's like I can at least understand, why we're at this point. So
right. Well, I mean, I looked it up a little bit on when he was going through that, and there was actually a lot of he received a huge amount of support from his fans.
Really?
Yeah, during that time.
I mean, that's positive, I guess. You know, but
again,
hopefully,
where I would have probably sat in. That's
absolutely.
the camp I would have sat in.
As long as
it's like, dude, he's Pee Wee, man.
Of course, but as long as he didn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah, it's not like it was a touching. Doing that kind of stuff.
I certainly hope that was not the case.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about it to comment on it too much, but.
I mean, I've never been to an adult theater in my life. But,
right. No, I'm saying.
But I've watched porn.
I mean, again, it's like, you
vigorously watched porn. So, I mean.
For the story. But
no, this is all true, baby.
but yeah, I mean, no, that's just it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like, you know, at least by that point we had grown up and we can understand. It's like, oh, you know, you're gonna make some mistakes like that because, you know, you weren't probably thinking super straight. And it's like, you know, for all the bad, I understand. So,
yeah. I mean, I've done fucking,
you know, for all the other
pretty
people,
bad myself. So,
of course,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's
I'm
just
not
it. It's
gonna
like,
get-
you know, like you said, none of us are perfect. We're all adults and we can all make mistakes. And, you know, I
mean, there's a few unforgivable.
of
shits,
course,
you know,
of course.
yeah,
And I mean,
but
that's the thing. There have been people that have suffered, you know, greatly that I have very little sympathy for.
Yeah.
But at this moment,
Like, are you going to
with the
judge
passing
Richard
of-
Gere for shoving a gerbil up his ass?
Right.
No, come on. I mean,
and
that's his thing. That's his thing.
not,
dude.
yeah, but that, you know, that didn't happen. Like, that's,
I mean, yeah, of course.
But
But,
yes.
but then that was the rumor that
right,
fucking
of
just
course. It
circulated
right.
everywhere.
Just-
I'm like, what
just
the
runs
hell?
his life for fucking 50 years.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's just it. It's like, you know, for all those things, you know, people will talk about it. It's like, oh, you know, when somebody dies, you don't talk about this. You don't
Right.
do all this stuff. This is one of those times where it's like, you know, past everything else, we can talk about his legacy.
Yeah.
You know, far from now, but for now, like you said, just you know, rest in peace. And
Rest in
he
peace.
he gave us a lot.
I mean,
of,
it's all
lot of
nothing but
joy.
love for Paul Reubens from here, dude. From my side, at least.
100%.
Right?
No,
Yeah,
no,
see,
exactly.
we're
So,
both-
like I said, that's
this is a man who was like a big part of our childhoods.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
even though we couldn't understand half the shit he was saying.
And I mean, that's the funny part. It's like he was almost that. He was the precursor. Like he's kind of the prototype for what a lot of what followed after, like the SpongeBob SquarePants and a lot of that, those weird Nickelodeon shows like Ren and Stimpy for us, where it was something where it's like you can't even 100% tell me that it was probably all geared towards kids, where they're making jokes and it's like, you know, kids may not get it, kids may think it's funny, but it's a little deeper than that. It's all a little bit more bonkers, and it's like it's not just something where you're setting up and making classic jokes or whatever. It's all just a little crazy, and I think that formed a lot of what we understand as entertaining to us.
Yeah,
and
it's
for
just,
a lot of people
for
moving
us,
forward.
it's more just the wacky pace.
Exactly.
Just
yeah.
the you
Right.
know. So
And I mean, it's like-
that's what entertained kids.
Exactly. And I mean, he was so good at that. And he like I said, for me, he's kind of the pioneer of that style.
Yeah,
You know?
like the SpongeBob's, right?
Exactly,
And all that. Yeah,
exactly.
they kind of
So-
they're a little bit more like.
Oh yeah, 100.
They
Oh
kind
yeah,
of slip in those little adult jokes a lot
Right.
more.
Yeah.
like less subtly too.
Exactly. And but again, I think you can probably attribute a lot of that. And I'm sure people have said it, and it's like I just don't know because I didn't study or anything. But you know, I'm sure people have talked about those influences and how he probably influenced a lot of what came after him.
Yeah.
And again, it's like so it was very formative for us. So again, past everything else, it's the passing of someone who was
legend.
fucking
legend, man.
It was a very big part of our
you know,
lives. So.
this podcast is perfect. We need to talk about it because this is the Xennials, man. We grew up with this guy, dude.
Exactly.
Most of us did,
Right.
A lot of us did. I mean,
yeah. I mean, again, it's always it's country and culture specific, I'm sure, but But again, like you said, it's like it was those moments of those little moments of joy in our childhoods. So
I'm surprised you haven't said story. all that whole.
I was like, now what's going to be bad is it's like right now it's in the front of my head, so I'm going to forcibly not say it. That's something we'll talk about later, right?
Yeah.
So it's like until we start getting into something, and I'm sure I'll say it, and we'll be screwed. So. Anyway,
but that's
exactly.
All right.
Again, people are complex. And, time has moved quite a bit, and society has moved quite a bit. And
he's done shit since
right.
that. I mean,
but, but past that, it's, some of the stuff, putting somebody who did a show, effectively pushing 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Close to
40 years.
30 to 40, 30 to 40. No, yeah, something like that.
I think 86 was the year.
Was 86? Yeah. Okay. So it's like, 30, 35 years ago, you've got somebody who gets a big show, goes through this stuff. And 25 to 30 years ago.
2 movies also.
2 movies, exactly.
Based on the character.
And, he's doing all this. He kind of gets in trouble throughout his, more his post Pee Wee life.
Yeah.
That stuff is definitely viewed from a different lens now than it was then. And, it would definitely be viewed differently if it was happening now versus then. I was just going to say, you look at Jason Aldean now with his song. This happened pretty recently too, right?
Yeah. This happened within the last couple weeks. Yeah, although the song came out in May. In May. But then it's been out for 3-4 months already.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything
until
like
about
of a subject.
Ago. Yeah.
And I guess
okay, so now I think so we're talking about Jason Aldean's "Try That in a Small Town," his song.
Yeah.
It received a lot of controversy through the social media space mainly.
Yeah. I mean, we had kind of talked about it in passing. Because I don't listen to country music that much, but
neither do I. I mean, I do like the few Aldean songs that I know of.
Okay, and I mean, it's like there's been nothing bad. I mean,
so let's kind of go over what the whole controversy is.
Okay,
it's basically the song. I mean, what are people saying about it that it's wrong with it?
Well, I mean, so from everything I understood initially was, it's basically him talking about, oh, you do this stuff. You one of the first few lines is like, you spit on a cop, you step on the flag, you do something else,
rob a guy at the liquor store.
Exactly, and it's like don't try that in a small town, and then everything to me seems kind of.
He doesn't say
normal.
He just says, see how far you get down the road.
Yes, right. It's like, see how far you get down the road in a small town. Don't try that in a small town. See how far you get.
Well, we'll put the lyrics up right here.
Okay, So, again, it was like, I kind of heard it. I heard of the controversy. So I've heard little snippets of the song.
Yeah.
And from everything I understood, it was like, I guess it became a bigger deal once the video came out.
The music video, right.
And that was a bigger issue.
My initial reaction to the song itself was, this song's fine. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see it as I don't see it as racist, and therefore I don't see it as inciting violence.
Okay.
So, because it's just more like, hey, you try to bring that shit to our small town of people that care about each other. We're going to protect our own. We're going to, we'll fight back. We're not just going to take that like laying down, basically.
Right.
Which, I guess that could be.
Well, I mean,
but it's not. It's not in the sense where like we'll bring the violence to you. We'll respond in kind.
Yeah.
And if that's violent, then so be it.
Right.
Which I'm okay with.
Right. You're okay with it. Like I said, I think my initial thought was reasonably similar. It's like I still will call it inciting violence, but again, it's like you said, it's a response to something
proportional response kind of thing
that is threatening, right?
I mean, we talked about how like I thought, it's kind of like when in baseball, when one of your players gets hit, the pitcher's going to go and respond in kind and hit one of their best hitters,
right.
And then if tension gets high enough,
you see
the bench is clear, right? Like the bullpen comes out.
The bench is clear, yeah.
I mean that's like that mentality. It's like, dude, you fuck with us, we'll fuck you right back, basically,
right.
and we'll protect our guy.
Right.
That's the kind of like feeling I got from it. It's not so much like, hey, black people, you ever come to our town, we're gonna fuck you up. I didn't see it that way.
Right.
Which is
a completely reasonable way to view it.
Right.
Again, it's like so I don't even know how I would view it in a vacuum, but the thing is that don't try that in a small town. See how far you get down the road. If I hear that in any sort of kind of, I guess, country setting, or in any sort of setting where you're talking about, just people being in the wrong place, it very much reminds me, and I actually didn't learn the term until I was an adult, basically, of what's called sundown towns.
Yeah.
And so that's what it reminded me of, because it's like, I didn't know the term, but I grew up very near one of those. It was a constant controversy. Even I grew up in a pretty small town. There was an even smaller town that was a little bit of ways that continually had a billboard go up and come down of that nature. And it was.
So are you saying that song's actually like,
what I'm saying
is that it's like, dude, you're coming to a sundown town, so don't come around here.
Well, no, I mean, those are the words that the people that believe in that view use. So
right, but in context of the song,
right?
He's
so
talking about like violence that's happening in bigger cities.
Again, it was,
and he's saying if you bring that to a smaller town,
right?
So it's not talking about more like a race; it's more talking about like what happens in bigger cities.
Again, that's and again,
how I took
that was that everything I heard in terms of the song itself.
Yeah.
You know, controversy aside, my own, I guess, my own issues with the song weren't so much that it was just it's all for me. It's always intent versus consequence.
Right.
So the thing that I took away from it, kind of on my own, trying to look at it more objectively, is I think I understand his intent, which is exactly something to that was
just more like
that's how I took it.
Yeah,
it's small town people doing a small town thing. Again, this is where I grew up. Where, you know, if somebody just randomly comes up to your door that you've never seen before and you don't know why they're there, there's a very good chance that whoever's door they come up to, that person will answer the door, not open it fully, and find out what that person's doing with gun in hand, because that's how people kind of protect themselves out there. Right. So that's how I view it.
Is that necessarily violent,
right?
though?
No, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, again, it was the same thing you were saying. It's like you were just responding in kind. You're protecting yourself, right? So it's like I understand that intent. Using those words with just that kind of microphone is not so much the intent that's the problem. It's how those words can be perceived by other people. So
yeah,
it's
but in that case, as an artist, you got to just be like, I feel like you just have to just stick to what how you interpret the song and how you actually
again,
and if people are gonna misinterpret it the way in a wrong way or the way that you didn't intend, then you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Again, I can understand that and I can appreciate that. Yeah. It's like, that can always be that discussion.
Yeah. But that's what
everything.
But that's
a what. That's nothing to discuss now. Then
for another time. Come on, say it. No,
but no, I think he's got his intentions, and again, the intentions that I ascribe to it were reasonably innocuous. They're reasonably innocent. It was something that I didn't think. I don't think any reasonable artist that is out in public is out there to incite violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So
especially him.
Especially because he was part of the most violent thing that ever happened in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, I get the publicly.
One of I mean, like it's pretty heinous.
It was basically the worst mass shooting in this country, that's saying something. That's insane.
Yeah,
and so
dude, and people still gave him shit for that too. Remember?
Right. Which I
crazy.
Can't believe. It's like, and again, for everything you can say about somebody being in those situations and what they could have done, I don't begrudge anybody for just kind of trying to protect yourself and not really thinking about anybody else at that time.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Be like, hey man,
but
stop doing that. Just listen to my music, man.
Well, no,
and it's like, dude, I'm gonna fucking run too, dude. I'm gonna fucking run off that goddamn stage, dude. I'm like, dude, I can't save everybody.
Right. So again, it's like, I understand if you had that issue with him, that's fine.
Yeah.
I happen to disagree with that part of it where it's like, dude, just let him not get shot. He let him think about not getting shot, and hopefully everybody else is doing the same. That's a story for another time.
Anyways.
So again, in my view, the intent was nothing malicious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was very much the possibility of the interpretation by other people. And again, it's like, this is something where it's like, I haven't seen the video, but from everything I understand, the video starts pushing in the wrong direction. And
that's where I think the controversy mainly comes from, because the video footage that he showed tried to highlight the violence that he's talking about in big cities is mainly, it was like, one of them was a BLM protest, another one was an Antifa riot, and so it was very one-sided. Yeah. So like how you were saying, remember, like, oh, this one particular lyric reminded you of January 6th.
Exactly. That was the first
thing
I
had
thought
shown footage of January 6th. That could have been a little bit more like, hey,
show both sides.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where I feel like he may have, not have, done it the right way.
Right. And so again, it's like even at that moment, I can't sit here and tell you that the intentions were malicious or that the intentions were bad.
Yeah.
But it very much feeds into that consequence of people misinterpreting what you're trying to say. And again, it's like at best it's naive, and at worst, you are trying to start that. You know what I mean?
But then in his view though, he's just trying to be patriotic. He's just trying to be like,
but again,
I love my country. That whole country music, like,
I hope that's what it was. But it's like, but again, country music as a whole, especially nowadays, is not so much just purely patriotic. You know what I mean? It's like
not even just today. I mean, even a few years ago, a skit by a Key Peele skit. They do
and that was a while back.
That was a while back. It must have been at least 7 years. I'm thinking at least 7, like 2015.
Yeah. So it's like then that's a completely separate from this entire thing.
So if you haven't seen that, we'll show it right now. Actually,
you got it, right?
We got it up here.
Joe's a strumming and the drums are a banging. Let's get the boys together and have ourselves a hanging.
Now he figures it out. Now I see it. Now I see it.
Oh my god!
Awesome. Anyways, I mean,
oh my lord, and that was freaking 7 years ago or something.
That was like 10 some years. I mean, so. Yes, maybe country music maybe have some undertones there. I don't know. I don't know if maybe that's what they were trying to push on that sketch. Maybe I don't know. Or
you don't know if they were trying to push the country music might have racist undertones in the.
Okay, fine. But are they saying that country music is like this, or is it just more like they're trying to find the most white music, which is country music, and then trying to have this guy kind of
no. He's saying there are racist undertones in a lot of country music.
Okay.
And there are not racist undertones in a lot of other country music where your wife leaves you and your dog dies. Those are not racist.
Settle down. All right, but now
the ones that are saying
I get that, and I get the lyrics. The lyrics are kind of more out there. Now, is Jason Aldean's song doing the same thing? I don't think so.
So is it doing this? Is it doing the same thing that they're doing in the skit? It's absolutely not. Is it doing something where it's trying
evoking,
to? Is it evoking something that can lend itself to something very racially charged without using any racially charged terms? And that
again, I say no. See, that's where I disagree.
Yes.
I feel like no. It goes back to the baseball team mentality where like we're going to protect our own.
I understand.
I don't feel that's.
I understand.
It's not picking out a certain group. He's trying to say this to. He's not saying this to like any non-whites. I don't think he's saying that. He's just saying people that do violent things.
Have you ever heard the term dog whistle, like in terms of racist?
Yeah.
Do you know? So when somebody says you're using a racist dog whistle, what they're saying is you're saying something racist without using any of the words to explicitly say you're racist.
Yes, so but then you could stretch that into a lot of things, and you could, which is where I say I don't think this is doing that.
Right,
especially when he came out and said this is not doing that.
I understand. So. Again, I can give him some benefit of the doubt on that he did not have the intention of doing any of that.
Yeah.
However, you're using a lot of language that seems very racially charged depending on how
he doesn't even say
he doesn't say race. I understand that.
Basically,
that's
you have
the
to assume that
of a dog whistle.
But then you have to assume that basically all the violent acts that he was saying is like, oh, those are black people.
So basically, the only way that you would assume that any of that stuff is racially charged is, let's say, you put it with a Black Lives Matter protest.
No. The only way that you'd have to say that that's racially charged is if you think that he himself is a racist.
No.
Which I don't. That's why I don't think it was racially charged, which I don't think it's inciting violence. You have to ultimately say that the song is racist, that he is racist, and therefore he's going through that. He's speaking through that lens. If you don't feel that way about him, then I don't feel that he's doing that.
So basically, it's like you don't think it's racist because you don't think he's racist, right?
Yes.
And so if you do think he's racist, then it's perfectly reasonable to think that is racist.
Yes.
So if someone listens to this, sees the video, and thinks this is racist, and then
I understand that they feel that way, but My
and you
opinion is
disagree.
I just don't agree. I don't feel that he's going that far doing that.
So I think that's where we kind of are at the moment in the discourse, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so again, that's where I think from that point, people can make the decisions they want to make. So
because country music basically all they're doing is they're just telling. They're telling what? What are they telling?
a story.
Anyways, sorry.
But regardless of what his intention was, it can easily be misconstrued by people who have had to deal with similar situations.
I get that.
Using similar language that was distinctly racist.
Right. But he could easily have just been like, when asked about it, he could have easily just been like, yeah, it's fucking racist. I don't know. But
Tell me the last time that happened.
In Time to Kill, Samuel L. Jackson, he goes...
Tell me the last time that happened.
He said, yes, they deserve to die. I hope they burn in hell. Now, imagine a white dude said that about black dudes. Come on now.
Yeah, very, very true.
Right.
Now, imagine any of that happened in a non-fiction.
yeah. I'm kidding here. I'm kidding here. I'm mainly just kidding. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I can give you that, and I'm not going to sit here and argue with you, although I really want to argue with him a lot. But again, I understand that point of view. Yeah. But I hope that you understand that there are a lot of people who have gone through a lot of shit that have heard very similar language with very negative consequences.
Totally understandable why people would think that. But again, you have to you have to ultimately think, is this guy being racist in nature? Well, I don't believe that. So I'm going to give him
that's where you're at, and I'm at where I'm at, right? So moving forward, I think that's going to be basically the result of this. It's like, is he going to get canceled? He's not going to get canceled because here's the thing. It's like CMT pulled his music video, right? Yeah. And everybody kind of blew up about that because they thought that was wrong. Well, but that's CMT being a company that's just kind of protecting their own ass because they didn't want to get involved in this shitstorm that was coming.
It's basically the same thing as Bud Light cutting ties with Dylan Mulvaney.
Right.
I mean, it's just we don't want to be part of it. We want to keep our money. We want to keep our bottom line.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so again, but what was the result for Jason Aldean? It's like, so
just obviously number one.
Exactly. It's like, oh no, I'm sure he's super mad about all this current.
Oh no, he's not mad. I mean, if anything, it's helped him out. Help the song out
monetarily. So it's like, now, and then that honestly probably should become the new argument, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you've got people who are just not going to listen to his stuff anymore because they believe what they believe, kind of leaning more my way.
Yeah.
And then there's more people that are going to listen to him, to support him for, the reasons that you're saying, where it's like, you give him the benefit of the doubt. He was being patriotic, and it's like, oh no, I'm going to support him. And then there's going to be a group of people that are going to be like, oh, I'm definitely supporting him.
Yeah,
because he's on my side.
You're right,
the racist side.
He said without thinking,
right?
And he said it,
right.
Yeah,
and so that becomes that.
No. I mean, okay. So I'm coming from a non-white. I'm coming from an Asian perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm looking at this, and I just don't see
absolutely
that. Like, I mean, I could see how it could be,
right.
But again, you have to take certain assumptions into play in order for that to play out the way they're thinking about it.
And I can tell you some of my assumptions come from being from an area.
Yeah, but you were in a small town.
Yes.
Were you ever caught in hey,
harassed?
Hey, Asian boy, get out of here. You're not safe here.
Not safe here? No. Was I harassed for being non-white? Yes.
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, that's happened to pretty much anybody.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, the ones, the sundown town that had the billboard up that said,
what?
Don't let the sun hit your ass in this town.
What would they think about Asians though? Did they not care as much?
Nowhere near as much. It was very, very specifically targeted to black people. In this area.
Yeah.
So again, if you grew up around that, and you saw that, God forbid you were black in the area, and you see how far you get down the road. That is going to invoke a different feeling for you than it might for other people.
So right? I'm supposed to, as a songwriter, I'm never supposed to ever see how far you get down the road because of that.
Well, again,
I mean, that's the thing.
You can have you can do it. as long as, again, it's like you can make your intentions clear. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Or again, you understand that there are some people that are going to see that.
I mean, yeah. If that's the case,
And
then
so it's
I'm
like,
going to
if that's the
continue
case,
to
you just
like
continue to do it.
Yeah.
People are going to see your stuff negatively. You continue on
Yeah.
about your business. And again, it's like I got a feeling that's what Jason Aldean's going to do.
and what he's been doing, right? Because it's more like, I mean, he's addressed it. He said those allegations are just wildly untrue, but
Again,
and he's just pushing
we're gonna-
forward, you know.
And again, we will see how everything kind of pans out from here.
Yeah.
This is still kind of new to the discourse, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Wow. So take it from the big city Asian. I got your back, Jason Aldean. In a small town.
I do not have your back, apparently, Jason Aldean. But again, you know, we appreciate it, and past everything else, you know, the tragedies that they went through on October 1st, October 1st shooting, can also shed a different light on this entire situation. And it's like I have at least a part of that lens as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's something that oh no, you weren't in town yet, right?
I wasn't here.
Yeah. Like I was here.
Yeah.
And you know, that, so, you know, it's definitely something that can skew those visions as well. But
Right.
that's a story for another time.
Anyways, well, yeah, just to end off this, I wanted to just do a special way to end this episode and just kind of just show a clip from Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Yeah,
And,
thank you for tuning in.
and
I hope you like this discussion.
absolutely. And Paul Reubens, thank
man.
you for all the years of a joyous childhood.
Yes, thank you.
See you soon.
Let's see. What should I wish for?
How about a team of horses, Pee Wee?
I know. I wish that all of you will come back again next week.
All right. Everyone repeat after me. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho. The wish is granted. Long live Jambi.